Disposal of human corpses, also called final disposition, is the practice and process of dealing with the remains of a deceased human being. Disposal methods may need to account for the fact that soft tissue will decompose relatively rapidly, while the skeleton will remain intact for thousands of years under certain conditions. In this video we will be looking at such criminal cases where the bodies were placed, intact or more morbidly dismembered, into suitcases and left out in public or rural areas in an attempt to avoid discovery. The content of this video may be troubling to some. Viewer discretion is advised. The bodies of Jessica Lewis, 35, and Austin Cashwenner, 27, were discovered on Seattle's Alki Beach on June 19. The TikTok users who found the suitcases containing the victims' dismembered bodies alerted the authorities and posted video online. A viral TikTok video shows two teenage girls discovering a suitcase containing body parts on a Seattle beach, and police say that human remains were found. The teens used the Randonautica app, which randomly sent them to the location.
We're also learning new details in a gruesome case of two bodies found in a suitcase on Alki Beach in Seattle. King County prosecutors charged landlord Michael Dudley now with 2 counts of second-degree murder. He's accused of killing 36-year-old Jessica Lewis and 27-year-old Austin Wenner before dismembering their bodies and dumping them on the beach. Court documents say that someone may have helped Dudley. Investigators say Dudley did it because the couple would not pay him rent or move out of the home that they were renting.
Their bodies were found in a suitcase and bags on a beach in West Seattle, and now their landlord is charged with their murders. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joyce Taylor. Court documents say that Michael Dudley wanted Jessica Lewis and Austin Wenner to move out, but they wouldn't. In June, neighbors heard arguing and gunshots. Well, tonight, King 5's Britt Moore spoke exclusively with a woman who says she knows just how violent Dudley could be.
I still can't comprehend that he would even be capable of doing this. That is beyond me.
Marlis Gordon says she was in a relationship with Michael Dudley on and off between 2002 and 2016.
I was shocked at what he did to me and can still see the evil in his face that I had never seen before.
Dudley was arrested and booked into King County Jail on Wednesday in connection to the murder of 36-year-old Jessica Lewis and 27-year-old Austin Wenner, whose remains were found in bags along Alki Beach.
Get the fuck out of here! Now a word from our sponsors.
A heartbreaking mystery, and police are hoping the public can help solve it. Workers trimming brush along a trail in Southern California stumbled upon a suitcase, and inside was the body of a girl. Authorities are desperate to figure out who she is and how she died.
Who is the girl in the pink t-shirt? Police just released these sketches. Somebody out there must know who she is. They show a girl between 8 and 13 years old. She's wearing a girl power t-shirt that little girls love. Future princess is crossed out and replaced with the word hero.
The girl may have been carefully dressed in trendy clothing, but her body was found in dire circumstances. Stuffed inside a suitcase, then dumped down this embankment off an equestrian trail here in Hacienda Heights, a middle-class neighborhood 20 miles outside of downtown Los Angeles.
Detectives hope a security camera at a nearby Buddhist temple might offer clues. Adding to the mystery, the cause of death.
Investigators did not observe any obvious signs of trauma.
Here are the other clues to determine her identity. Images of the clothes she was wearing and the suitcase the body was found.
Calls for justice from the family of Trinity Love Jones. She's the 9-year-old girl whose body was found along a Hacienda Heights hiking trail. CBS 2's Jasmine Veal is live in Hacienda Heights. Has more for us, Jasmine.
Well, Jeff, it's been about a week since the body of 9-year-old Trinity Love Jones was found partially in a duffel bag in some bushes down that dirt path. And since we've been here just within the last few minutes, more of Trinity's family has been showing up to this memorial. That's her uncle in the black sweatshirt. They've been lighting candles, but they are staying tight-lipped on who they think killed her. Photos posted to social media show a smiling 9-year-old Trinity Love Jones, who family members say loved dressing up like a princess.
Trinity was our princess.
Cetrice Oldham Edmond is Jones's cousin. The little girl's body was found partially stuffed in a duffel bag on a trail near Hacienda Boulevard and Glenmark Drive on March 5th. She was found wearing a shirt that read, "Future Princess Hero." LA Sheriff investigators released her identity late last night after a family member provided DNA sample to detectives.
My family and I are devastated about losing her. She didn't deserve any of this. She didn't deserve to be tossed out like trash.
Investigators had released this sketch last week of Jones when they were trying to identify her. No way to warn her or had any fears that something like this horrible would happen?
No.
Detectives still have 2 people detained in connection with the young girl's death, but so far the sheriff's department isn't giving out any information about who those people are. You don't know who did this to her?
No comment.
Can you confirm Dior, her mother's boyfriend's been arrested?
No comment.
On Facebook, Jones's aunt alluded to knowing much more about what happened, writing, "When you have so much to say but can't, there's a time and place for everything, and trust me, the world is going to know the truth."
Trinity will be greatly missed.
Just before dark, detectives walk out of a Beaverton area home with what appear to be bags of evidence. This home, they say, is associated with the suspect in a heinous crime.
This is a sad day for everyone.
Authorities say the suspect, who has not yet been identified, is responsible for killing Sarah Zagul. Our news partner, the Oregonian, reports the 28-year-old was decapitated, dismembered, and stuffed inside 2 suitcases.
Does it appear at this point that the suspect and victim knew each other?
I don't have any information to release on their relationship. It's important to note that this is very early on in the investigation.
The investigation started Thursday when deputies learned of a possible homicide. A short time later, they found this car parked near the corner of Southwest Sorala and Hargis in Aloha. Inside the car were the 2 suitcases, concealing Zagul's body.
This is about the safest neighborhood I've ever been in. So it's kind of a big surprise, to be honest with you.
Just as Zagul's body was being discovered, officers were catching up to the suspect across town. They found him near the intersection of Southwest Murray and Teal in Beaverton. The Oregonian reports he tried killing himself just before his arrest.
Detectives are going to be working tirelessly to hold this person accountable.
Accountable for allegedly taking the life of a young woman who had her whole life ahead of her.
And we expect to learn a lot more about this disturbing case in the coming days, including the name of the suspect when he is booked into jail. When we do learn more, we'll be sure to pass it along on air and online.
Story we've been following this afternoon. Our news partner, the Oregonian, has named the suspect in a gruesome death of a Washington County woman.
And the suspect has quite a criminal history. Let's get right to KGW's Mike Benner, who joins us now with the latest. Mike?
Well, Joe, according to our news partner, the Oregonian, the suspect is 35-year-old Jeremiah Johnston. He has numerous drug convictions dating back several years. I want you to take a look at an old booking photo of Johnston. At this point, it's unclear how he is connected to the victim in this case. Her name, of course, is Sarah Zagul. You may remember the 28-year-old's body was found in a car last Thursday after authorities got a tip about a possible homicide. Our news partner, the Oregonian, reports Zagul had been decapitated and dismembered and stuffed in 2 suitcases inside that car. Officers tracked down Johnston near the intersection of Southwest Murray and Teal in Beaverton. The Oregonian reports he tried killing himself just before his arrest. It happened right below Michael Larson's balcony. Take a listen.
The way he was responding to us, not appropriately really, I thought, yeah, something else is happening. And then the following morning, when I read the news, I put the 2 together, and that's when it just hit me that, you know, I was talking to a murderer right underneath our balcony. Very scary. Very.
Seeing as he is still in the hospital, it is worth noting Johnston has not been charged with a crime yet. As we get more information, we'll be sure to pass it along. For now, Tracy, back to you.
Thank you.
Developing story, a ghastly discovery in Markham. Police say a man came to visit his family and brought his girlfriend's remains along in a suitcase.
WGN's Gaynor Hall, live from Markham Police Department with more on that. Wow, Gaynor.
Yeah, Pat and Micah, the victim's name has not been released yet, but the police chief here did give some details today on how this all unfolded, calling it a heinous crime.
It was unbelievable. It's something that you would never think it happened around you. Never.
Police say 30-year-old Melvin Martin Jr. boarded a Greyhound bus from Louisville to Chicago. He arrived Friday with a suitcase and bag, staying with his mother and relatives at this house at 164th and Wood in Markham. Neighbors say he asked for clothes and never unpacked, putting the bags in the garage, guarding them. And when he went to the library yesterday, family members looked inside.
Then they finally discovered the truth about what was in the suitcases.
A coroner's autopsy was conducted this morning, which verified that the lower half remains was transported here. We also have a human head and some organs.
When I heard that, I was completely in shock.
The victim was Martin's 31-year-old girlfriend. A domestic assault ended with her death at least 30 days before police say Martin brought the dismembered remains to Markham.
He indicated that, as grotesque as it might sound, that he still wanted to be with her, at least part of her.
The woman's upper torso was found earlier today in a Louisville park not far from where they lived. Martin is now charged as a fugitive fleeing prosecution, and authorities are working to extradite him to Kentucky. He was taken into custody at the Markham Library yesterday after his mother called police.
Extremely devastating for her. I can't imagine what she's going through right now.
And Martin is expected to have his first court appearance tomorrow morning. Reporting live tonight from Markham, Gaynor Hall, WGN News.
It's unthinkable.
And let's get to that gruesome discovery in south suburban Markham.
Our Jermont Terry live outside the police department. Jermont, police say the family had no idea.
Erica, family members were here at the police station late tonight answering questions from detectives. I'm told that they are cooperating in this investigation. Police telling me that the family suspected something was strange about the suitcases, but no one expected body parts. Markham police spent much of Tuesday outside this house on 164th and Wood. David Scott didn't think much of the cops across the street at first.
And by the time I ran to the neighborhood store, came back, that's when I saw the yellow tape from the crime scene. I knew something was bad at it. Yellow tape from the crime scene. I knew something was bad that happened.
But he, along with the family living here, didn't realize how bad things were. Markham police telling me the homeowner's son recently came to visit from Kentucky.
He brought with him luggage, 2-3 bags.
Heavy luggage, and inside the dismembered body parts of a woman. Police say the man boarded the Greyhound bus in Louisville, Kentucky, traveling more than 5 hours with those body parts to the Harrison bus station in downtown Chicago. His family picked him up, brought him and those bags to this house in Markham.
That's even more crazy. Traveling body parts.
Chief Terry White insisting the family did not realize what was in the bags. But after a few days, it became odd when the man never unpacked, but he kept guarding the suitcases.
There were some early reports of foul odor coming from the bags.
Tuesday morning, the man left the house and headed to the Markham Library, leaving the suitcases behind. When family finally opened the suitcase,
a human body part was discovered. They immediately backed away and called police.
Police found several chopped up body parts of one woman, a crime they believe happened in Kentucky but unraveled in Markham.
You see stuff like this on TV. You don't see stuff like this up from your next cross-street neighbor.
Now, those suitcases were in the home for several days. Tonight, investigators from Markham, the FBI, and Louisville all looking into this case. I'm told that the woman and or the body could be linked to a woman that was reported missing in Louisville last week. Tonight, that man remains here in custody at Markham PD. Reporting live in Markham tonight, Jermont Terry, CBS 2 News.
Jermont, thank you.
Okay, then.
Smoke something, bitch. Hold up.
We now know the name of the woman who was killed and dismembered here in Louisville on North Height Avenue in Louisville's Clifton Heights neighborhood. Police say her body parts were then taken to Illinois in a man's suitcase. The Night Team's Jesse Cohen explains what court documents are showing about their past.
A beautiful soul and the one who brought people together. That's how some friends of LaDondra Ellington describe the woman whose life was taken too soon. Grieving on their public Facebook pages, many cannot believe the realities they are now hearing. Police in Illinois say her boyfriend, 30-year-old Martin Melvin, went from Louisville to Illinois with a suitcase, and in it were parts of her body.
The lower half remains was transported here. We also have a human head and some organs.
And now police are saying part of her torso was found in Bingham Park near their Clifton Heights home on North Height Avenue. It started out as a domestic violence situation, and we found out just a few months ago, on Memorial Day, Ellington filed an emergency protection order against Melvin. Tashana Brown from the Center for Women and Families says an EOP is used to protect victims of domestic violence.
They are in fear of their life or fear of being harmed.
She says in some cases, having an order of protection can make all the difference. In other cases, people don't know how to stay away.
We also know that they are the experts in their own life. If they say, I feel comfortable, with the protective order, I feel comfortable with the safety plan, they do it or they don't. Like, we have to trust them.
And while they don't know the fine details of LaDondra Ellington's relationship with Melvin, Brown says it's still awful to hear she didn't survive.
It's always hard for us to hear that when this is in the line of work that we do.
And for those who knew her, it's even more difficult to lose the woman they say had a smile that lit up a room. For the Night Team.
The body was found stuffed in a suitcase on the side of this road in the upscale New York City suburb of Greenwich, Connecticut. Highway workers making the gruesome discovery this morning.
We have no doubt that there was a homicide involved.
The victim, a woman, believed to be between 18 and 30 years old. She was fully clothed, bound at the hands and feet. Police say they don't know who she is, how she died, or when, though they do have some leads on her identity.
Our focus right now is obtaining that identification of the victim so that a proper notification can be done to the next of kin.
Police searching this nearby gas station for surveillance video.
It's a little scary, but, I guess the Greenwich Police Department is great and they'll do their job and get everything handled the right way.
Tonight, with few clues, this town is on edge. Stephanie Goskin.
Identifying the body found inside a suitcase as missing 24-year-old Valerie Reyes.
She disappeared from New Rochelle last week, and right now, as we just showed you, that vigil is being held for that woman as police continue to search for her killer.
Eyewitness News reporter Tim Fleischer with our lead story live in New Rochelle with new information. Tim.
And Bill and Liz, the grief, as you could well imagine, runs very, very deep here. These folks have gathered tonight, family and friends, in a parking lot here at Glen Island Park on the shores of the Long Island Sound to remember this young woman. As you can see, it's a fairly large crowd. It's been growing even as we've been here over the last half hour or so. We have the camera inside that you can see part of the close-up of the vigil. They've had prayers. They've had remembrances of this young victim as well, but as you can well imagine, the grief is great as soon as they found out earlier today of this young murder victim. So young at 24, Valerie Reyes, her family says, was full of life.
Just very humble, Val, very strong-minded, very loving, silly.
Norma Sanchez cannot believe she is gone, taken from her and her family, murdered, and her body dumped on the side of a road.
Did somebody mention to her somebody's out to get you or something?
So many unanswered questions. And while her mother says Reyes sought treatment for anxiety and depression, her disappearance for 9 days was unusual.
It was eating us up every single day, every single night, not knowing if she was eating or not knowing if she was cold.
Valerie Reyes' body was discovered early Tuesday morning here alongside Glenville Road in Greenwich. Her hands and feet were bound and she was in a suitcase. A highway worker made the shocking discovery. Greenwich officials also now confirm that worker took pictures of Reyes' body and the crime scene. The The first selectman said in a statement, "This thoughtless and insensitive behavior by an employee is inexcusable. He has been put on paid leave." Valerie Reyes' neighbors are in shock.
I can't believe someone hurt her. She's innocent. She's amazing. She was amazing. She was amazing to the kids on the block. She was a sweetheart. I don't understand how someone could hurt someone like that.
Reyes worked here at this Barnes & Noble in Eastchester for the last 2.5 years. The company posting, "Our hearts go out to her family, friends, and co-workers during this difficult time." Back live now, our camera there at the vigil here in the parking lot at Glen Island Park, where a large, sizable crowd has gathered to pay their tributes and remembrances of this young murder victim. As for the investigation at this point in time, it is now focusing on finding a suspect.
Breaking news: that arrest was made today in connection to the death of a 24-year-old woman whose body was found in a suitcase in Greenwich, Connecticut last week. New Rochelle police, along with Greenwich detectives, arrested a suspect in New York who fraudulently used the ATM card of Valerie Reyes. On February 5th, her body was found in a red suitcase just off Glenville Road, and her hands and feet were bound. Police are investigating her death as a homicide. They have not yet released the name of the suspect. 22 News will continue to follow the story on the air.
Exactly 1 year ago, the body of Valerie Reyes was found in a suitcase in Greenwich, Connecticut, on a roadside. Today, the man who kidnapped her and left the New Rochelle woman there to die pleaded guilty. CBS 2's Tony Aiello has more on the crime and the likely punishment.
With this meticulous signature on a 7-page plea agreement, 25-year-old Javier Da Silva admits he kidnapped his ex-girlfriend and left her to die in a suitcase he dumped on the side of a road.
He really took away an innocent girl who was missed.
Brenda DiGiacomo lives across from the New Rochelle home where Valerie Reyes vanished in January 2019. Relentless police work led law enforcement to Da Silva, who dated Reyes briefly. Wednesday, on the 6th floor of White Plains Federal Court, he pleaded guilty to kidnapping Reyes and causing her death, saying in Spanish, quote, "After a violent struggle in her apartment while Valerie Reyes was still alive, I bound her feet and hands, put tape over her mouth, and put her in a suitcase." Da Silva admitted dumping the suitcase in Greenwich, where it was found February 5th, 2019. Wednesday in court, we learned important new details. The prosecution was ready to prove Da Silva re-rented the exact same vehicle he used to drive the victim to Connecticut in order to take that vehicle to a car wash and scrub it clean of any DNA evidence. Police also believe he stole close to $10,000 from the victim's accounts, starting in September 2018 and continuing after the kidnapping. Da Silva faces 30 years to life when he's sentenced in May.
I'm glad that he's gotten 30 years, and I hope he does his 30 years in time.
Valerie is remembered as a loving, artistic young woman. Her family posted a plea for privacy at their New Rochelle home. Tony Aiello, CBS 2 News.
Da Silva is a Venezuelan national who overstayed his visa. He was in the country illegally. He faces deportation after finishing his prison.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Jetstar Flight JQ11 through to Tokyo Narita. We are now inviting all business class passengers to now board through gate number 9. It is now time to turn off all electronic equipment, and this does include your mobile phone, and please dispose of all hot beverages before leaving the gate lounge. Once again, that's inviting all business class passengers to now board through gate number 9.